Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creating Effective Prompts, part of the UDC Spring Webinar Series, AI in Context. Our presenter for the day will be Jacob Hopkins, the Information Literacy Librarian here at UDC. If you have any questions, there'll be time at the end for questions both on camera and off. And I'll be monitoring the group chat. So if you have any questions that need to be addressed right away, put them in the group chat and I'll make sure that Jacob hears them. But that's enough for me. So take it away, Jacob.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Glenn, for that introduction, and thank you all for attending today's webinar. As Glenn said, my name is Jacob Hopkins, and I'm the Information Literacy Librarian at UDC Library. And today we're continuing our AI in Context series by talking about creating effective prompts for generative AI tools. So we'll begin our webinar today by defining what a prompt is in the context of AI and why good prompts are important. Then I'm going to share with you a framework for creating effective prompts, and we'll take a look at some examples together. But before we dive in, I just want to take a step back and talk briefly about my own experiences with using generative AI. So seemingly overnight, AI has become ubiquitous, everywhere, all the time, and for everything. And for some people, I know that can be exciting and full of opportunities, but I know for other people that that may be overwhelming or even a little frightening. I know that I personally tend to fall somewhere in the middle. And I think it's important for me to acknowledge my own experiences with AI, including my own knowledge gaps. And I hope that this transparency encourages you to bring your authentic self to the table today as well. With AI tools rapidly advancing, in many ways, we're all here to learn together. So I personally have been using generative AI tools for about a year now. I wouldn't say I use them daily, but I do use them a few times throughout the week. I most often use AI tools for help with brainstorming. So, like giving myself a starting point for a new project so I'm not just stuck staring at a blank screen. And I will also use generative AI in my job as a librarian when I need to research or maybe teach someone else how to research a topic that I'm more unfamiliar with. So for instance, I'll ask AI tools for recommended search keywords and for suggestions of places or ways to search. I tend to use popular AI tools, or what I'm calling all-purpose tools. So those are things like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and Perplexity. And I'm not as well versed in the more specialty tools that help you complete more complex or more specific tasks, things like large data analysis or code generation. And then lastly, I've adopted an educated bravery mindset towards AI, and I hope that you all will too. So educated bravery is this term coined by Salman Khan, which he defines as, quote, acknowledging the rational trepidation we all face when presented with sudden advances in technology, so that would be AI in this instance, and then informing ourselves of both the challenges and the potential it presents. So with that in mind, let's dive into prompts and prompt engineering. So in the context of AI, a prompt is your input, or what you enter into an AI tool to generate results. Those results you can also call the output. Most often, your prompt will be a question, instructions, or a set of search keywords. Prompt engineering, also called prompt design, is the practice of creating effective prompts to help enable AI tools to give you accurate and relevant results. And so, why are good prompts important? Well, there are a few reasons. Number one, good prompts help the AI tool help you. A good prompt can guide the AI to create a meaningful response. It can guide it to create content that you're looking for and things that are relevant to what it is that you need. In contrast, a more poorly designed prompt may result in an incorrect or irrelevant response, and it may lead you away from the best information out there. Number two, good prompts are cheaper and they're less resource intensive. So some AI tools, especially those that are free to use, may put a limit on the number of free prompts that you can submit. Sometimes this is a daily limit that resets after 24 hours, but other times it's a lifetime limit. And once you've used up all your free prompts, you can't use the tool anymore without paying for a subscription. So a good prompt, an effective prompt, can help you get the desired output that you're looking for without needing to waste a lot of repeated searches. Likewise, effective prompts are more energy efficient. So we know that generative AI is really resource intensive. It uses a lot of energy, it uses a lot of water. Crafting more effective prompts leads us to quicker and more precise responses from the AI tool. On the back end, this is reducing the computational load, what's happening behind the scenes, and that in turn reduces our energy consumption. So learning how to use generative AI tools includes increasing our awareness of their costs and their impacts, and using that knowledge to make informed digital choices. AI experts and educational professionals have lots of recommendations on how you can create effective AI prompts. You could simply Google how to write a good AI prompt, and you'll get thousands upon thousands of different frameworks and suggestions and tips and examples. So I encourage you all to check that out in your free time. But one model that we'll look at today is called the CLEAR framework. And the CLEAR framework will help you not only create AI content using effective prompts, but it will also set you up to evaluate that AI content, to fact check it, and to find, sources that can verify it. And we'll have a whole webinar on evaluating and fact checking AI generated content later this month. That will be at the end of this month on Friday, February 28th. So let's start off with our CLEAR framework. So good prompts are clear, and CLEAR is an acronym. The C in CLEAR stands for concise, meaning short and to the point. Concise prompts focus on just the important keywords, so just the absolutely essential information that you need to answer the question that you're posing or the instructions that you're trying to give. Concise prompts are direct and they're specific. So let's take a look at a prompt that could use some improvement. So here I have a prompt up here on the screen, and it reads, please provide me with an extensive discussion on the various factors that have significantly contributed to the unprecedented rise of online learning in the United States in the past few years. Quite the mouthful, right? So while this prompt is specific in what it's asking, it also includes a lot of redundant or unneeded language. So let's try paring it down a little bit. A revised version of this prompt might look like, identify and explain factors behind the recent rise of online learning in the US. So here in our revised prompt, we're asking for the same information as our original prompt, but we're being a little bit more direct in our approach. We've removed unneeded adjectives and adverbs and other words that really aren't that important to what it is we're asking. And we focused instead on just the most important components of the prompt, just the most important words that we need to tell the AI tool. So that's the C in CLEAR. Going back to our acronym, the L stands for logical. Good prompts are logical. Logical prompts organize instructions into steps, and they break down more complex requests into smaller, focused tasks. So if your prompt includes too many tasks without specifying the order in which they should be completed, or how those tasks relate to one another, the AI tool may not generate the results that you're expecting. So, for example, a prompt that might need some improvement. Please outline a 5-minute speech on renewable energy resources, and also include some data on air pollution in Washington, D.C. Here, we're asking the AI tool to do two things for us. Number one, we want it to outline a speech, and number two, we want it to cite data. But it's not exactly clear how those two things are related. For example, should the data be included in the speech outline, or is it meant to be something separate that comes after the speech outline? A revised version of this prompt divides the tasks into two distinct steps. So this revised prompt reads, first, outline a 5-minute speech on renewable energy resources, then cite at least 2 statistics on air pollution in Washington, D.C. to support your argument. By using the words first and then, we're giving an order to our instructions, which will help enable the AI tool to completely and accurately address both tasks in the ways that we're expecting. All right, back to our acronym. The E in CLEAR stands for explicit, meaning specific and detailed. So instead of assuming that the AI tool knows what you want, be specific about the information or the content that you need. Explicit prompts include directions about how the AI should create its response or its output, and that includes details about the format and the length. So a prompt that can need some improvement is, tell me about the Haitian Revolution. Now, while this prompt is certainly short, so it satisfies the C in CLEAR, which again is concise, this prompt is also pretty broad and open-ended. It doesn't really tell the AI much about what we specifically want to learn. We also haven't told the AI how much information we want. So the response we get back may be just one sentence, or it could be a whole essay. So a better revised version of this prompt might read, in 1,000 words or less, give an overview of the Haitian Revolution, including its causes, major events, and consequences. Here, I'm being more explicit about the information we need. So in this case, I specified the causes, major events, and consequences. And I also give the AI a parameter to follow. So in this case, I want my response to be 1,000 words or less. Now, even the best prompts may need improvement. That's perfectly fine, normal, and expected. And the last two letters of CLEAR, the A and the R, address what to do after you've examined the AI's answer to your initial prompt. So the A in CLEAR stands for adaptive. It's important to be flexible when prompting generative AI tools. If you didn't get the response you expected on the first try, rephrase or restructure that prompt and try again. For example, if the AI missed something that you wanted it to include, make sure to specify that in the revised version of your prompt. Make sure to explicitly say what you need when you prompt the tool again. Likewise, you can also specify what you want the AI to not include. So if you got back some irrelevant or even incorrect information in the initial response, you can specify to exclude that information when you reprompt the AI tool. Many AI tools also have settings that you can adjust. These are options that let you control the level of detail, the style, the tone, and other parameters of the AI's output. Look for these settings when you're playing with AI tools and try experimenting with them to see how they affect your responses. Lastly, the R in CLEAR stands for reflective. So always take a moment to reflect on the AI's answer. Ask yourself, does it make logical sense to you? Does the response direct you to up-to-date information, including real citations that you can check yourself for accuracy? Is the AI's answer complete? Or are maybe certain voices or perspectives missing? Try leaving the AI tool and searching the internet to find other sources that might confirm the AI's response or that might give you alternate points of view. Keep a note of what worked well when prompting, as well as where you ran into obstacles, because those experiences and that knowledge will help you to continue to design effective prompts in the future. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the CLEAR framework is just one model of many for designing effective prompts for generative AI tools. Up here on the screen, I have a few other helpful tips that you can keep in mind when prompting. So number one, you can assign a role to the AI. Giving an AI tool a role to play or a persona to take on helps provide it with context, set expectations, and guide its behavior towards more tailored responses. So if you recently finished writing a paper and you're looking for some help with, proofreading and revising it before sending it off for final submission, you can prompt the AI tool to maybe act as a writing tutor. Or maybe say instead you want some help practicing for an upcoming job interview. You may prompt the AI tool to act as a hiring manager. Number two, you can also give examples to AI tools. Share examples of responses or templates to help guide how the AI generates content for you. So let's say you want to use an AI tool to help write a resume for yourself. If you find a resume template that you really like, you can share that template with the AI and ask it to work within those parameters. Lastly, if you're not sure how an AI tool arrived at its response, you can prompt it to explain its process. Ask it for more information about how it got there. That can include the step-by-step reasoning it followed, the various factors it considered, and the sources it consulted. All right, so now I want to give you all a little peek behind the library curtain. And I'm going to show you how I prompted an AI tool for help with designing today's webinar. So I used Perplexity, which is a popular free AI tool that can generate text, code, and images. And this was the initial prompt that I submitted to Perplexity. I wrote, act as an academic librarian, design a bulleted outline for a 20-minute webinar that will teach university students, faculty, and staff how to create effective prompts for generative AI tools. First, include definitions of prompt and prompt engineering, then explain why effective prompts are important and provide a recommended framework for creating good prompts. All right, so let's break down how I applied some of our recommendations for effective prompts here. Number one, I assigned the AI a role. In this case, I wanted it to step into my shoes, so I instructed it to act as an academic librarian. Number two, to make my prompt as concise as possible, or the C in clear, I tried to focus on important keywords, which for me, I thought those would be prompt and prompt engineering. I knew I wanted to show you all a framework of some kind, so I included that in my prompt. And I also included words like universities, students, faculty, and staff to give the AI more context about my audience. As much as possible, I tried to avoid unnecessary information. So for instance, I could have said that this webinar today is part of an ongoing series of AI webinars, but that's not really that important to the AI tool, and it's not really that important to the type of content that I wanted it to create either. I'm sure that I could have still pared down this prompt even more, and if I didn't get the response I was expecting, I could go back to my prompt and put greater emphasis on the words that are absolutely essential and try removing some words that are not as important. To make this prompt as logical as possible, or the L in clear, I organize my tasks into steps using words like first and then to describe the order in which I wanted the information presented. And lastly, to make my prompt as explicit as possible, or the E in clear, I included clear, detailed instructions about the output requirements. So in this case, I wanted the AI to create a bulleted outline, so I specified that. And I wanted that outline to work with a 20-minute webinar, so I also gave it that parameter. And so here is a little glimpse into the beginning of the initial response I received from the AI. To be adaptive, or the A in clear, I reviewed the response and thought about information that wasn't included. So I knew that I wanted to include some discussion about the environmental impacts of generative AI tools and how effective prompts can help reduce our footprint there. But I noticed the outline didn't mention anything in particular about that. So I might choose to reprompt or prompt again the AI tool and ask it to include that information as well. And make it explicitly clear that that's something I want it to include and have that in the new prompt that I send to the AI tool. And to be reflective, or the R in clear, I asked myself, is this answer complete? And where could I go for other perspectives? So in this case, I ended up searching the internet for information on how other libraries and other librarians are teaching effective prompt design. And it was by consulting those sources I was able to get more insight, including some debate on this topic. And that was more than I would have known if I had only relied on the AI tool as my only resource. So the CLEAR framework, for instance, that's something I learned about by engaging with what other libraries are doing. The CLEAR framework wasn't something suggested by the AI tool. They sort of had their own recommendations for creating effective prompts, which were great, but not quite what I was looking for. So I was only able to learn about the CLEAR framework by leaving the AI tool and looking for other information that would either support what the AI had already told me or that would maybe offer other perspectives or other ideas. All right, before we go, I want to share one last tip for creating effective prompts. And this is one that I myself have only recently learned about and have only begun to practice. But you can try prompting an AI tool for help with creating an effective prompt. So give the AI tool your first try at a prompt and ask it for recommendations for improving it. Try applying those suggestions and see if your results improve. One AI tool, it's called Structured Prompt, will actually transform a prompt that you give it into a new prompt that adds more context and adds more parameters that you maybe have not yet considered. And it's my suspicion that tools like this, tools like Structured Prompt, will only continue to grow in popularity and usefulness as we all collectively learn together how to best prompt different AI tools and how to do so in different contexts for different purposes. And so this concludes our webinar for today. I hope you all enjoyed learning about designing AI prompts and why good prompts are important. Just like any other research skill, prompting AI requires practice and resilience. So the library is here to support you as you develop this skill, and we hope that you'll reach out to us with any questions, comments, or new ideas and discoveries that you have. Feel free to send us an email, schedule an appointment, chat with us online on our website, or swing by in person to speak with a librarian. Before I open up the floor to any questions, I'm going to drop a few links in the chat for you all. So let me stop sharing my screen. These are links to, one of them is more about the CLEAR framework, which was designed by a librarian named Dr. Lowe. The other link is to our list of upcoming AI in Context webinars. So please feel free to register for those and get them on your calendar. And then lastly, on Thursday, April 10th, the library will be hosting an in-person event here on the Van Ness campus called AI Tasting Menu. And that will be an opportunity for you to stop by our classroom here at the library and get some hands-on experience using some generative AI tools. So we hope to see you there. All right, we're now gonna allow time for questions. If you would prefer to ask your question unrecorded, stick around till the end and we'll stop the recording.
All right. Erica had her hand up first. Erica, feel free to ask your question.
Thank you. When you showed us on the screen about how you structured your request, you mentioned going to a particular site. Could you actually show us on screen or show me on screen what
Sure.
site you went to in order to
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, so are you're speaking about the prompt that I used to sort of create an outline for this webinar, right? I went to a popular AI tool called Perplexity. So let me share my screen. So this is what Perplexity looks like. It's similar to ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, if that's what you've used in the past. Um, it's truly, it was just a matter of convenience and personal preference for me that I chose Perplexity. And I entered my prompts here right into this main search bar where it says ask anything. And that's where I got that response. Now, if you're talking about the last site I mentioned is something called Structured Prompt. Structured Prompt, it's still in its beta phase, structuredprompt.com. You can sign up for free as a beta tester. Just know that, some of the kinks of the system are still being worked out. And then within this tool, you can give a prompt that you already are thinking about, and it will give you a new prompt that will maybe add some more details to it. It kind of uses coding in a way. It uses like brackets and other signifiers to add more information to your prompt. And then you can copy and paste what it gives you into your AI tool of choice, whether that be ChatGPT or Perplexity, Claude. I'm just reading off the ones listed here. But does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next hand raised.
Yeah, this is Ravi. Jacob, are you at UDC?
Yes, I am at UDC.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, besides Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, what other engines are there that are freely available for faculty and students at UDC?
Good question. So I think we often don't always think about this one, but we have an EDU, an educational subscription to Grammarly, which is primarily spell check, grammar check, but can also offer some generative AI assistance with brainstorming papers and thinking of research topics. So we have UDC has licensed a subscription for all UDC members to have that. We also have access to the Adobe Creative Cloud. So you can simply go to adobe.com and just sign in the upper right corner. I believe it's where the sign in button is. You can sign in with your UDC email and password to get access to all the Creative Cloud apps. And that includes access to one app called Adobe Firefly. Adobe Firefly will allow you to generate images based off of, like a text prompt that you give. So you can enter and create an image of, I don't know, a cat in the library, and it will generate different options for you to choose from. And from there, you can specify, okay, now I like that image, but I want it to be more realistic, or I want it to be more cartoon-like. And so from there, you can make some adjustments. And what's neat about Adobe Firefly too is that it's been trained using only stock images and images that are in the public domain and free to use. So you don't have to worry about inadvertently, stealing someone else's work or stealing an artist's, style without their knowledge or permission.
I also put in the chat a link to our LibGuide, which Jacob put together. The link to it goes to a list of popular Gen AI tools, which includes which ones have free accounts, and then what are the either restrictions or limits on those free accounts as well. So there are some that we don't have a subscription to, but you can use for free. Usually it's either less powerful tools or you get, a certain number of prompts in a certain time period.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great question. Thank you for asking.
Any other questions, either that you want to do verbally or put in the chat? All right, I'm not hearing anything, so I'm going to turn off the recording in just a second, and you'll have another opportunity to ask questions. But just to remind everyone that today's webinar is recorded and it will be posted to our YouTube page. I don't know if it get posted right away. It might be a couple days, but you'll get a notification when it is available there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Okay,